Welcome to East Coast DNA. This is
Darcy.
And I'm Andrew. We're brothers from Nova Scotia. And this podcast is covering East Coast musicians. Originally starting to be the re-emergence of live music since COVID started. Now it is, since COVID restrictions were lifting, I guess.
Yes.
And it's wide open. It's wide open.
Yeah.
Last week we had a super episode with nominees for Rock Performance of the Year. Correct? That's what it was.
Recording.
Rock Recording of the Year.
Same difference at this point.
Yeah, I think it's the same. And we released a 2-hour episode. This week we're cutting it up and we're going Monday to Friday. So what's the theme this week, Darcy?
Originally we were reaching out to entertainers of the year, but a couple things. One, we quickly realized that as we were gathering notes for some of the interviews, that most of the entertainers of the year are in other categories as well, which made it a little interesting. And on top of that, the Hurricane Fiona that ripped through the East Coast and just destroyed everything.
When was that? Was that recent?
Yeah, it was maybe you were asleep.
Yeah, I think I had a nap.
That was when I was doing interviews, and then I woke you up right when the power came back on.
When did the hurricane happen?
Couple.
While you were sleeping.
Yes. So that kind of put a little bit of a pause on some of the little spree of interviews that I was doing for the East, but we do have another set of 5. And as you and I had discussed, we figured instead of releasing another 2-hour episode, maybe this one would break up a little bit, and with everybody doing cleanup or resting and recovering a little bit from all of the cleanup and devastation that happened in the region, we thought maybe it might be a little bit of a distraction for people, some extra entertainment content. You know, that's when I listen to podcasts the most, is if I'm out cleaning brush or burning or doing laundry, dishes, all of the fun stuff that everyone fell behind on when they had no power for the better part or more than a week in some cases.
Yeah, I still got friends that still have no power. They don't think it's coming back till Tuesday, so they'll be. It's almost 10 days now, so they're going to be like almost 2 weeks before they get power back.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, that would stink. And to close out the week with our Friday episode, Michael Ryan got a little bit jealous of Bruce, so here's his own interview from the Town Heroes.
We just had Bruce on.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about the Town Heroes a few times throughout the year because it's all East Coast music.
Yeah.
Of course, you guys have come up a few times, and where we just had Bruce on, we covered a couple little things, but now you yourself as well.
Yeah.
You had a book out, and you had a solo album out.
Copy of my books just conveniently sitting in my studio.
There you go. Yeah, there you go, everyone.
Yeah, it was the pandemic was one of the busiest creative times of my life for sure. It was just kind of a little bit afraid to lose fans and lose just what's the opportunities that might come. So I was already had a lot of things in progress, so it was just diving straight into the creative zone and seeing what I could create from that. So ended up putting out 3 albums really. My solo one, the acoustic Town Heroes one, Home, our latest album, and the book. So it was and I know a lot of people kind of found it a hard time to create, but I was the opposite. It was just dive in head first and see what happens.
And then your life partner as opposed to your music partner. You guys have collaborated a few times, like where she was doing paintings. I did attend one at your house actually, where she was doing the painting and you guys were performing. So aside from that, you guys wrote the book together, and then you have a podcast that kind of spun out of the book, but it's become its own thing too, because I've been listening to it. It's great.
Thank you.
You get a nice mixture of guests in there too. George Woodhouse is somebody that you
Yeah.
worked with as well. Like you
Yeah,
were recording with him?
produced his album as well. So, and he was one of our guests. He's a good friend. So he
Mhm.
was working on his album was just a great experience to produce another person's full length album that's not my own. Like I have been able to work on a number of albums in the last couple of years, but I did everything on that. I recorded it, mixed it, mastered it, produced it. So it was just a completely all in on that as well. And he's just a lovely guy. So it was nice to be with him and his band for an extended period of time. Because when you
And
take on an album, you're producing an album, you're going to be with those people a lot.
yeah,
So
I could imagine, because it's not just necessarily it's not like a live show where you just sit down and play for an hour or two and then you're like, oh, the recording's done. There's a lot
yeah,
of back and forth.
yeah, a lot of little things you're focusing on.
So one of the people that was in attendance when I was at your house that was helping serve some food and whatnot,
Yeah,
they're actually in George's band, the public service.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Joss, yeah, Tall Pop.
So is was that recording going on at the time? Is that why she happened to be there?
Uh, George's recording, or
Yeah. Were you
well,
working on the
I
album?
recorded a track for her as well, that she released
Oh, okay.
at Tall Poppy, and that was a couple of years ago before I actually started on George's album.
Oh, okay.
So she has a single out right now under her name Tall Poppy, and also sings in George's band.
Cool. I'll have to check out her
Yeah.
solo thing there too. And now, being from Cape Breton, I know some of the connections from Cape Breton, like when I see music scene stuff and I see your Halifax connections, like some of the people you collaborated and everything with. But now I have some selfish questions with you. Where I'd met you before, I asked a couple random things here and there, and I've been reading your book and I listened to podcasts. So I already have a lot of my personal questions answered.
Thanks for the support there, first and foremost.
Oh, it's very easy. You guys kind of indirectly became part of my bubble at the end of COVID there with all your isolation bingos and doing all your videos and everything. It was just when there started to be live shows, you were people I was going to see too. It was almost like I felt like you were part of my bubble.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
And you indirectly helped me make a new friend in the process too. So hello to Krista Crane out there. She'll be
Hey,
watching
Krista.
this.
I'm sure she's listening.
Yeah. Our libido. That was one.
Nice.
And I've got another one. Full of policy. I was curious. Is that from back in Billy's Flick days that you have connections with these guys? Or
Well, our libido, the bass player Jesse Frazier, he's from my hometown in Inverness in Cape Breton. And so when I was, I guess I would have been in junior high, our libido was starting to kind of make their claim as one of the great bands in the East Coast. And me and my friends, we just adored them, and we'd go to all their shows and get in the mosh pits. And I just remember watching them on stage and thinking they were like the best band you could ever see. And we had a career day at my school once, and my school was not very progressive in any manner whatsoever, but they happened to have a young alternative rock band at career day. And I remember they were in the cafeteria and they played a few songs and then had a Q&A. And someone asked, what do you say to young aspiring musicians? Maybe even I asked the question, I can't remember. And they said, don't do it. they're kind of joking, but half serious at the same time, because they were seeing how hard it was to make a career out of it. But yeah, I loved them early on. They definitely inspired me to play music and to pursue writing songs and trying to build a fan base around it. And some of the most fun I ever had was at their shows, and just seeing what you could do with a group of people in front of you was just like create this joyous occasion. Like there'd be 300 kids in there screaming their heads off and just having a blast. And And then shortly after that, my bands, we started to play teen dances, and we didn't have that exact same feeling and energy because we weren't that good yet, but people did enjoy us and would pay $5 to come see us. And then we started to play at a local bar in my hometown when I was about 16. We had to sign waivers to get in and play, and try to get all our teachers out to come watch us. But yeah, our libido, definitely early days, very inspiring to me, my music career. And Folds of Policy, a couple of members went on to become the Sandfields.
Yeah.
And another band I used to play in years back called Silver Gun with Jason McIsaac from the Stanfields as well. We used to play some shows with Folds of Policy here and there, and just really liked them and had some good parties with them. And then, John and the gang kind of became our best buds in different ways. So
sure. So Bruce came into the picture through Billy's Flick.
Yeah, that would have been multiple years before the Silver Gun thing. Billy's Flick was in like 2002.
Okay.
2002, I think or 2003. I was in university. Three of us were in university. We our summer job was playing music. And all our friends would wake up and go work mowing lawns or doing something they hated, and we just got to write songs and play music. And at the end of the summer, we decided we wanted to just keep it going and see how far we could take it. So we left university, and I was at St. FX in Antigonish at the time. Moved from there to Halifax to just see where we could take it. And Bruce wasn't in the band. The old drummer we had with us didn't move to Halifax, but we met him very shortly on, and he joined the band. And then we eventually got him to quit university too. So
there you go. You're very encouraging to quitting university. But you're doing what you want to do, and you're still doing it. So I mean, it wasn't the wrong decision.
Yeah. And all the band members are still involved in music in some capacity. So that definitely music has been something that will be with us all forever.
That's good. It's nice to be able to do something that you have a passion for too. And
yeah, for sure.
The reason I was asking about those bands in particular too, our Libido's drummer DJ Timmons was from the Glasgow.
Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah.
And John Landry's from here as well.
Yeah.
And then Krista gave me the Tony Ronalds album there that you're on.
I got one just to my left.
Yeah. So that has Mark Kosh on it, and it has Dave Gunning on it. So there's a lot of stuff related to you that ties back to Pictou County, where I'm from, and not the home album, but the album before. I believe you did the CD release party at Glasgow Square, which I was at that too back then.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, do you have any ties to Pictou County, or is it just we're on the way to Halifax?
Just met a lot of good people from there.
Sure.
And DJ from our Libido, his first cousin was the bass player in Billy's Flick. So
there you go.
So they were that was another connection to them. And I think they would have been done by the time we started playing. But they definitely inspired us. And Pictou County, just lots of great musicians there, and lots of cool bands from there, like Alert the Medics, a band from the area. And I know Lowell's one of the best drummers in the world. He's from Pictou County. So there's
I got the Contrived shirt on. I just saw him.
Yeah. Nice. So there's just people who you end up crossing paths with. If you're in the music scene for as long as I have, I guess you just eventually cross paths with everyone who's in it. And there's just some good people there, but no relations and no relatives in Pictou County really. Just like we used to play the Roseland Theater years ago. Is that still a thing?
No, that's taken over by Jamie McGillivray. They build some kind of vehicles in there now.
Okay.
It's a real fixed up building now, though.
So I remember when it first transitioned from the theater to being a venue. That's when my old band Billy's Flick we started playing there, and I think our first gig we got paid 2 pizzas was our pay, and they've been having trouble just getting the audience engaged. Apparently, like one of the guys there, I think his name was Paul Taylor. He had something to do with he did lights there or something. But he was saying, yeah, the audience is tough to get them to get into bands. Like they want to listen to the DJs. And we played a set there, and it was completely jammed, and everyone loved it. And then they wanted to have us back as often as possible. So we started going there all the time, and had a lot of fun playing there. And as always, you got to get a slice of pizza before and after.
Yeah. No, the pizza's still a staple down there. We have a couple on that main road. There's East Avenue, which is right near where that venue was. It's a restaurant that's doing smaller shows now. And then the other end of the road has the Spot and Shoebox Cantina, formerly the Commune. So
I didn't know they changed the name.
Yeah. So we were just talking about it on the last interview as well. That keeps coming up. That's a central place in New Glasgow for people from the city, I guess, to come down and play at. But there's quite a few little venues down here now. And I suppose Gina Kennedy somehow too from back in the day. Yeah. She's from here as well. And
from Devin, her partner.
Yes.
We played Canadian Music Week one year, and I think we had 9 shows in 3 days. It was like the busiest we've ever been. It was just play a show, just freaking sprint to another venue, like carrying amps and all that. But anyway, one of the shows we played was a house concert, and Devin happened to, I don't know if he lived there or his friends lived there, but we played this house concert, met a bunch of cool Toronto musicians there. And he ended up playing guitar with us for a few shows, like as a sessional musician. So, and then we met Gina through Devin.
Oh, cool. So yeah, they were both just here in the apartment recording, because there's another small venue right down on the waterfront here too. So
nice.
They're not all built for, like, you could probably do your 2-piece version at 3 of the 4 of those.
Yeah.
But, Shoebox would probably fit the more of your 4-piece too.
Well, we're still pretty loud as a 2-piece, so
yeah, that's true. But you did it in your living room, so I mean, it's doable.
Oh yeah, well, the acoustic version of it, yeah.
And you've done a few shows too at Rustic Crust. That's near your area.
Yeah, that's it's like the closest place to where I live in Tantallon that I can play music. So it's right around the corner from me, and the owners are just really great there and been trying to get a bunch of live music. And during the summer they have 3 or 4 acts a week. So they're really supportive, and I kind of treat those gigs as like, I'm gonna try out a few new songs. I'm gonna just work on my stage banter, because we do lots of ticketed shows, obviously, and this is just playing at a pizza place where people just come in and don't even know you're playing, and they're not paying for the show. So I don't want to, when we're playing our ticketed events, I don't want to kind of take away from that, like, or you can go see me for free here or pay $30 to go see me at another venue. So I make it kind of a different show, and it's kind of like you hear about like comedians doing like open mic night to kind of get better at what they do. So I kind of treat it like that. It's like going and trying some new songs and strengthening the voice. I'll sing for 3 hours straight sometimes, and it's almost like a little musical workout.
And you do get that change up, because you do have different variations of the band, and you have acoustic stuff, and then you have your full songs like the album. So how are you finding now that the restrictions are lifted? Like we talked about this, my brother and I, for this podcast, that the original intention of the podcast, like we were in the dead of COVID lockdowns, and we wanted to kind of cover the music scene as it was kind of reopening.
Yeah.
But it very quickly got bigger and bigger and bigger really fast. So you've got the podcast is ongoing, and listening to your most recent episode, or just today, I think, as of the recording, you talked a little bit about potentially doing some more writing in the future as well.
Yeah.
So is there a plan for new Town Hero stuff to come out, or?
Oh yeah. My 100% of my life and income is from the arts. Like, I don't have a side job. I don't have anything else to rely on. Don't have a trust fund or whatever. So I love creating in any way I can. And writing is, I released my first book and co-authored with my wife Kristen last November, but I've been writing like as a series writer for probably 10 years or a dozen years, and I don't have the credentials near off what I would have in music, because when you're a musician, you can go play a couple shows a week and you're a musician. But as a writer, it's like, okay, I've been working on this book for 10 years now and no one even knows that I consider myself a writer. But as I do consider myself just as much a writer as I do a songwriter or a musician. And that is an avenue which I am definitely digging into more. And now that I have the kind of first release under my belt, lots of different things to explore in terms of publishing, and just the whole literary world is something I really love, but I'm a newbie too, so have to kind of figure out the ropes. And I have a cousin who's a really successful author, and a few friends who have done great things in the literary world. So I have some good mentors to learn from and get advice from. But the music industry, I've been living it for a dozen years, and writing I've been working at it, but not necessarily living it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. It's I could see parallels with some other people I've talked to, and obviously with some of the stuff that I've been doing here too, because a lot of this came from being a fan. So then doing it and trying to put in a little bit of structure and presentation to it kind of gives you that whole different feel. I can really see how you both got to keep doing it because it is what you like to do, but then on top of it being your income, necessity to diversify it a little bit too.
And again, it's a little challenging to just know where to put your energy all the time. Like, okay, I gotta work on some new Town Hero songs, and also I want to do some revisions on this story I've been working on. And so it's not a bad thing. Like, it's good to have multiple creative outlets to go towards. So I've always tried to kind of divide and try to grow in every area kind of at the same time. Like, maybe if I was only focusing on whatever songwriting, I would grow faster as a songwriter, but I also want to grow in these different areas. So I want to put enough focus into each one to keep growing. And maybe it's not the best method, but it's the one that I like. And I feel like I've improved at everything I do. And even as a producer, it's like, there's lots of people who are producers and work in studios, and that's their job. That's all I do. But I also want to, again, be a songwriter and be a performer, be on stage entertaining, and be able to make funny videos that we release. So it's trying to get good at all these things, then find ways to monetize them, and also still enjoy everything that I'm doing. So it's just a little bit of a balancing act, and in life everybody's going through that, whether they're trying to balance their work with their whatever gym schedule and their kids schedules. Like everyone's on it. Everyone's usually just figuring out some type of balancing act. And for me, it's just a whole bunch of creative things to work together.
And is where you do like to do all of those things and you do have quite a bit of diversity, is it important for you as well to have that creative control? Because you're not like, you're an established act. You could be working with other people that are offloading a lot of the work that requires being in a band. Like you could be somebody that doesn't bother with all the production and everything. You could be like, I wrote a really good song, let's go record it, and somebody else does all the stuff for you. Being that you've been around long enough, there's money involved and whatnot, but I mean, you also know how to write a grant.
Yeah.
So you're choosing to do a lot of it yourself. Is that to have the, not control, but to give you the creative options, gives you more opportunity to do whatever you want?
I think initially it was like, I have to do it all because you can't afford to hire other people.
Yeah.
And then I just got good enough at these things that I can do them all. And like recording, like I've always been interested in recording and that whole world. But I went back to school about a dozen years ago or so to take a recording program. And our very first album, Birds and Fear, a lot of that was done as my school projects.
Oh, okay.
So from there, it just I always, it was initially to work on Town Hero songs and to just be able to do stuff and save money. Like I can record an album for free here that sounds as good as anything, but that eventually turned into people wanting me to work on their projects. And I'm like, oh,
Sure.
I've got a studio here that can do that, and I love working with other people, and especially working with people who've never really dove into that world themselves. So I've worked with a lot of people who are completely new to the recording world, and I'm in the studio every day trying to figure things out. So it's nice to just give them suggestions and, hey, I would try doing this here, or even just the structure of a song. Like you can just, on the experience that I have after doing it for a long time, I can just give suggestions, and a lot of the time they are really happy to have someone who just can guide them along the process.
And so ultimately, the reason I reached out to Bruce is because we're doing a series of the rock recording of the year. So the home album obviously did well. I mean, as a fan, and with COVID and everything, I find I'm a little skewed in how well it did, because I'm like, well, everybody knows those songs. But I mean, not everybody knows the songs. Maybe just everyone in my circle. So with all the stuff that you had out this year, what was the highlight for you yourself, or what do you want to try to build from going into 2023?
Well, yeah, Home, the album was definitely felt like an accomplishment, just because it was an album all about a very specific time in history in a specific place in 1999 in small town Cape Breton. This is about a 2-week period. So it was just the creative way we took that album. I was just really happy with how it turned out, and it's telling a story from point A to point B. So when you listen to the tracks, it's a chronological storyline. And a lot of our albums are kind of concept albums. Like there's a general theme, but this one was like, this is a concept album. This starts here, ends here. That's the story. And that one I did, it was the first album of ours that I kind of did most of the studio work on myself. So a lot of the times I'll record just guitars and vocals or something, and then we'll hire someone to mix it. But this one, I did pretty much everything on it. I recorded it, mixed it, and then we hired someone to master it. But I hadn't mixed anything we released as a band before, and that felt like a big accomplishment, and kind of just gave me you know, the belief that I can put out stuff that can compete with other people. Like because you can write a song and you might think it's awesome and you're like, oh, this is going to be the best song in the world. And either you go pay a bunch of money to have someone do that, to record it for you, and maybe it turns out the way you want, maybe not. But with this process, I'm like, okay, I wrote the song. Now I'm going to take on everything about it and see if that can compete with everything else that's out there. And at the end of the day, like, I think it stands strong against them. It doesn't, maybe not the best album ever made, but I'm definitely proud of it, you know. And that's all you really want in the end, to be proud of who you were at a specific point in time and what you accomplished. And
Absolutely. And well, you're also down for Entertainer of the Year too.
yeah,
So that's this batch that's going to go out is primarily started as me going down through the list of the Entertainers of the Year to see who I could find. So I'm noticing that most of the Entertainers of the Year are nominated in multiple categories as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. So it's really hard to tell who's going to land anywhere, because that one particular category of Entertainer of the Year is really diverse. And that was the only public vote one too, right?
I think so. Yeah. It's it all comes down to, this one is all fan voting. So
yeah,
it kind of depends what your fan base is like and how much effort you put into reaching out to them. And if you have supporters, like, because you can have a lot of people who follow you online. It doesn't necessarily mean you're supported by them.
We were talking about that with the podcast stuff earlier. I know that we have a lot of people out there that are following us more so than people that are regular listeners, which it's great. I appreciate everyone out there, and it's
of course,
but it is two different things. And when it comes down to things like being up for an award, you need the people that are going to interact for those type of things.
Exactly. And like, I can't remember the exact numbers, but they say it's better to have whatever 1,000 loyal fans than a million kind of people who like you. Like if that 1,000 people are going to buy your shirts and CDs and come to your shows, you can make a living off that. But if whatever you're a good looking person who makes an Instagram profile and gets famous for whatever dance moves or whatever people get famous for these days, they might not really be true people investing in you. I think just creating those connections with people where they feel you're worth investing in. Like, and again, I don't look at my fans as like, okay, these are people I need to convert into people who will invest in me. Like, that's not at all what I'm thinking. Like, but at the end of the day, when you be real and you just put yourself out there, people can relate to that. And luckily for us, I know we've don't have the biggest fan base in the world by any means, but we do have a good number, a group of people that are very supportive.
Yeah, and it seems to be a very interactive group. Like I said, through COVID, I was following what you're doing, and I just organically over time, I felt like I was part of this little group of people.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing, and we've always had like kind of a group of people who are supportive like that, and just like the videos we put out. And that's another thing, because we do all the I guess comedic sketch videos, and that are just pure jokes. And then we have our music's always super serious. So the balancing act between those has kind of been I don't want to say challenge, but it's just something we have to be conscious of.
Harder to market maybe to some people that are new to it.
Yeah, it's just we just have to be aware of it, so we can, if we anytime we put out a funny video or something, we just always follow up like a few days later with like, hey, we're also a band. This is what we sound like. It's a song about friggin' being poor in rural Cape Breton, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not even sure how we started this conversation here, but I think we were talking about was it just fans in general.
Yeah, just like being reciprocal, I guess, and supporting you. It's the core base that's always there is what's really important to sustain anyone in the arts community, I guess.
And the pandemic was great for us. No,
Yeah.
It obviously posed a lot of challenges for everybody and us as well. But we just through the methods, the way we've always interacted with people and try to be a little bit different online and in how we reach people really helped us. Like doing the bingo and a lot of live performance, like just being online a lot and getting to engage with people. Really, that's when this group of people really kind of came together. And I've seen in real life, like people who met online at one of our either bingo or performance or something, and then I've seen them meet in real life for the first time, and it's like they're best friends. Like they might be from two different parts of the country or the world, and they became friends through Facebook online events we hosted, and then they meet up and stay with each other. And like there's this group of people out there that's I feel like it's hard to believe that we were kind of the catalyst in creating relationships.
You became the connection point for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's just by us having fun and being
nice byproduct.
We couldn't be happier. And we've had people come into our life that from that are like close friends now, and that's, I guess, the way we want to try to keep reaching people is just creating these events or these just little moments that show that we're all connected, I guess. And that, like, the bingo was just a lot of fun and everyone's having laughs, but everyone just quickly just became themselves, like they would just let go of any inhibitions and just have fun. And that's we like to try to create events where people are able to do that.
And Music Week, it's the Thursday evening you guys are playing, so I'll be sure to check that out. And anyone listening that's heading to Sydney should listen as well. And I hate to cut you off, we'll have to have you on again. The recording's gonna stop on us in like a minute or something.
All good, buddy.
So congratulations on the nominations and best of luck. And getting closer to Music Week, I may reach out there and see what you guys are up to so I can hook up with you sometime on site.
Definitely, man. Would love to chat. And best of luck to you with the podcast. Hope lots of people tuning in, and thanks for supporting the East Coast music scene like you are. It means a lot to me and to everybody involved.
Oh, it's been great. I hope to keep doing it as long as possible.
There you go. If you guys want to follow us, we're available many locations. Not very busy in every location, but we're available. And you can find us in the Linktree link down in the show notes, or wherever you're watching this or listening to this. If you go below it, there's words. The words will be there, and you can click on the thing, and it'll
subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast.
Smash the like button. Subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the bell.
Exactly.
Ding.
And we do not know what the next one's going to be after the series, so definitely subscribe so you can keep track of it.
Yes. And let us know if you think we should do something different.
Let us know if you find out what we're doing next.
When you find out, let us know so we are in the loop. Anyway, thanks for listening. It's a busy week, and we'll catch you either tomorrow or in a couple weeks or on Monday, depending on what day you listen to this episode, because we're honestly recording the outro and just copy and pasting it all through the week. Keep rocking.
Bye again.
Bye.
Build a world with all we need, held together with our dreams. Climb a mountain, go through hell. I'll be there to take the helm. When I'm high call